All right, welcome back to another episode of Southern Scrap Nation's podcast. Your host, as always, Daniel Jonas. Good to be back. We took a little bit of a week hiatus just because there were no fights going on. Because this weekend is UFC 287. Yeah, 287, which will be going over and breaking down Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya for the middleweight championship of the world for the fourth time. But before we get into that, and then we also have Gilbert Burns and Jorge Masvidal to find out who the real king of Miami is, even though Gilbert Burns trains out of Fort Lauderdale. And so does Jorge Masvidal, which I'm sure isn't that crazy of I'm from what I can recall is not that crazy of a drive, but still, it's not through. It's not like he lives in Miami. Anyway, before we get into it, once again, Daniel Jonas, subscribe to the podcast, YouTube channel, hit the bell, do all the nice things that'll help the channel grow. We've had some subscriber growth in the last week or so, and I'd like to thank and welcome the new subscribers to the podcast. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. So let's get into it. Otherwise, you can find it. I'm trying to figure this out. The audio platform, I've only got like a certain level of storage. I think I might just have to boost it up or something. But I'm trying to get the audio back to full functioning. But for right now, check out the video version. It's fun. The video version's fun for right now. It's Tuesday, April 4th. I know a little bit late on this one, but yeah, midday, 12:16 p.m. here, Charlotte, North Carolina, as always. And remember, folks, you can train with me. I mean, look at this. This is Xavier. He's back training. I had a new post today. Check it out. We're back training. Having fun. Come train with me. Live that MMA style lifestyle, you know? I help everybody. Instruction, all ages. Come check it out. All right. So where was I? Okay. So since we last spoke, Corey Sandhagen, Cheeto Vera fought. Went the way that I thought it was going to, but the real showstopper, and I can't stop thinking about it, was Nate the Train Landwehr going out there and delivering a fun fight for the fans. But Cheeto Vera, Corey Sandhagen went kind of the way that we expected, right? You can't have that style of fighting at the top 3, top 5 level of I'm going to knock you out or I'm going to land one big shot and end the fight. Guys are just too good. Corey was too good. He's now implemented wrestling as a way to stop pressure. As a striker, it's a big improvement to like rely on wrestling to help you win fights, and it only makes you a obviously better MMA fighter, but it opens up your striking even more because you don't have a fear anymore. You're the guy engaging in the wrestling. So when it comes to his next call out of Merab, which is a real tough challenge because even though his wrestling is getting better, I mean, Petr Yan's wrestling is really good. It's in that same vein, right? That same striker with really good anti-wrestling, but clinch options, striking, and then wrestling off of it if they need to. But Merab is just the machine. He's a little ball of fury. It's gonna keep shooting on you. So it would be interesting to see how that plays with Corey's new style. But going back to his fight with Cheeto, Cheeto just couldn't answer. Yeah. It was kind of a shutout. I mean, as far as like if you were going to use any other analogy for like a fight term, it was or for a sports term, it was a shutout. As far as fights next, I'm not sure. Cheeto just needs to not necessarily. He doesn't need to get his wrestling better or anything like that. It's just he needs to throw punches and kicks. But let's see. Wait, before I move on, was there anything else? When Holly Holm, she won with wrestling. I said she should use her boxing, but instead she strapped on her boxing or her wrestling shoes, and yeah, so she out wrestled Yana Santos, but at the same time, as much as it was I don't know. I don't know if it was Holly Holm's wrestling that, or if it was just Yana's really bad game plan. She like ran at Holly Holm. Macy Barber got the decision. I said she was gonna win, but you know, it's more like you guys can thank the judges for that. All right. Anyway, we all probably forgot about that weekend. Not saying that those fights weren't great, but oversaturation is a problem. So let's see what's going on in the news of MMA before we get, you know how I like to do it. We're going to go through MMA Fighting's morning report because they're going to do some of the work for me. But I'm going to shout them out, even though they definitely get more views and stuff like that. So I'm just going to ride the coattails. But it helps my mind get going. Jorge Masvidal no longer interested in potential. I don't really care about this. See, and I get to pick and choose. Jorge Masvidal doesn't care about, for those that are listening, Jorge Masvidal no longer interested in potential future matchup with Jake Paul. It doesn't matter. He's with the PFL. Who cares? So this is the biggest news. Ari Emanuel from WME. WME is the grandpappy company or the dad company of Zuffa and UFC. They own them. That's who, a little history, that's who the Fertitta brothers, who originally owned the UFC, sold the ownership to. Is this WME company. What does WME do? Endeavor? It is a talent acquisition company. So movie stars. That's who that's the job. Movie stars. Fun fact, the head owner, or the CEO or whatever, Ari Emanuel, is who, for those that are Entourage fans, or those that remember Entourage or have any idea of what that show was, it's about kind of like Mark Wahlberg's life, I guess. But Ari Gold character is based off of Ari Emanuel from WME. 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Which probably true. They probably are 7 degrees from Kevin Bacon, or they probably own Kevin Bacon. Dana White remains in control of the UFC, obviously. Vince McMahon at WME together, that's pretty stoppable. So what's happening is there's a partnership where the owners at Endeavor purchase WWE. They have the UFC. They bought that for pennies on the dollar or however much. It was like $7 billion, ain't shit now. Or like, that's not really like a big number now as far as what they could get for it now. Growth. And now WWE, okay, so they do purchase purchase the WWE. So now they own both entities, right? And they want to combine it into one publicly traded company. But Dana White and Vince McMahon will like respectively still own or like remain in control of the companies, like the presidents of the company. So nothing's going to change from the outside perspective, but from like a shareholder perspective, you'll get one big goose egg, right? If you have shares in both, great, becomes, you have like now the option of getting one publicly traded company. I don't know if that means they're gonna like dissolve. I don't know. It gets kind of, because then I guess it would be it's like its own new stock, which I guess buy now. I don't know. It's all kind of weird, right? It's all weird. Yeah, I guess it's like buy now. I don't know if you'll lose. You don't like. I don't think those other stocks are going to go away. I guess sell those. I don't know. Clearly, I'm not the financial podcast. If you guys were wondering, I'm not. Don't come to me for financial advice. At least at like that level, I don't know. Okay. Jorge Masvidal hints retirement could follow loss at 287. I'll talk about this in the breakdown, but people bring this up as far as what happens to what do you think about this fight, and it kind of sways people to want to bet on Gilbert. But man, if there's one person to do it, and in Miami after back losses, it's gonna kind of be this guy, but I don't know. Dreaming. Anthony Pettis on beating Roy Jones. Oh, that's right. Anthony Pettis beat Roy Jones Jr. in a boxing match this past weekend. I mean, he did it in 2023, if we want to remind you. And, yeah, he won. Congratulations. It's like I'm beat. It's crazy to even say it out loud. Is it though? He's an older man. His style when he was boxing is kind of predicated on the same thing that your style was based on, and that's explosive dynamic movement that with age kind of don't come with them, or doesn't, it diminishes with age. It's not a style that like improves with age. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. Yep. Shout outs to Li Jing Liang for having a spine injury, so hopefully he gets better, because he was supposed to fight Michael Chiesa, and that would have been a great fight. But spine injuries is spinal. That's pretty bad. So definitely, I think it's spinal. Definitely heal up. Is that Jason Momoa? Oh, dude, how crazy. We see each other on the plane. Yeah, weird. I guess is he from New Zealand? Is Jason Momoa from New Zealand? Where the fuck is the Notorious? Oh, that's so weird. I'm gonna have a pigeon shoot off with Notorious, with a Conor McGregor. Why do we care? Post Alexa Grasso stuff. Come on, guys. Oh, I guess because of the 2.7 million followers, so it's got a lot of likes. Yeah. These are the best social media posts you guys could have gotten. These. Okay. Oh wait, you guys didn't see any of that. Sorry. Let me go back. Here we go. Let me show you the mind-blowing they have morning music now. Okay, cool. Awesome. Glad we're really putting the hard work. I know I'm critiquing something that I'm not even doing any, but I'm trying to use them for the source that they are, which is MMA news, and this is what they're giving me. They're giving me a guy waiting for a fight. Whoever. I mean, yeah, sure. I guess this is an OG person, Caitlyn. Yeah, sure. I guess. But we have fight week going on. We have UFC fight week going on. I'm sure people from UFC. I'm going to move this over here. I'm sure we have people from UFC fight week posting stuff. Cool things. No? Okay. Whatever. Anyway, let's see if MMA Junkie's doing any better. No, it's a lot about the Dana White, WME, and now it's going to just it's going to be nonstop. Bet your bottom dollar on this. This is my prediction. What are we? What's the so I can clip this? Okay, 15 minutes in, my prediction for the WWE UFC Endeavor merger that's gonna happen. It's crazy, biggest take, unbelievable that you're getting it first here. There's going to just be nonstop, relentless posts by UFC fighters and WWE fighters talking shit to each other. It's like, it's going to be nauseating. We're going to hate it. Get ready for it. It's going to just be girl fighters and guy fighters and girl wrestlers and guy wrestlers talking mad shit. Even like they'll probably like try to make dumb matchups like tag team matches, but with MMA fight. It's gonna be nonsense. It's gonna be a silly goose time, and MMA fighters are going to hate it, and WWE fighters are gonna hate it because nothing. And when you start, and this is, I think, as far as an insurance standpoint goes, and you want to talk about fucking fighters over, um, if there's anything the UFC could do with the studies in CTE, and I don't know how 100% this is, so don't sue me over this. Um, but from what I heard, WWE did a smart thing when they took wrestling and they categorized it as a entertainment industry rather than a sports industry, because then you are not as under the magnifying glass for certain sports related injuries, right? So if the UFC decides, hey, we're not really a sport, we're more of like an entertainment thing, so don't mind the CTE these guys get, because they're it's in the entertainment thing. It's not a sports related injury. I don't know if that's the way they want to go with it. I liked when they were trying to push the whole we're a sport and try to be along the lines of and be like NFL teams and basketball and NBA teams and like be in the same light as all that. But who knows at the top level if that's become a problem, because now they're under the same like eye of science and having to make sure that if these are athletes, they don't get mistreated and they get compensation for brain damages, and research goes into brain damage in uh, and and sorry and research goes into the study of brain damage in MMA and that kind of stuff. And not saying that's not a good thing. However, if you're trying to just make money off of fighters, which everyone assumes is happening and everyone can kind of see what's happening, and you kind of just want to like make money off them and not worry about that stuff, and you see that your buddy Vince McMahon is just like, well, just classify them as entertainers and it's fine. And so you kind of go that direction where it's like, we're entertainment, and you have movie stars in the front row, and everything becomes more of like everything becomes more of a pageantry and about the show, which the UFC got away from. It used to be like that, and then it got away to separate itself and become a sport. But it could easily just go back that way. I mean, with the investment of Prime and bringing in Logan Paul as like a partner and KSI as a partner, and this merger between WME or WWE and the UFC, and just that kind of, you know, I could see that kind of. I mean, if that's true, it would make sense. But I just think in the long run, the UFC MMA fighters are going to not like it. They're just not going to like it. All right. So what else? I could say confident Poirier rematch is next, but some people around me won't think he'll take it. I want this would be a great. Well, this isn't the fight, but Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier 2 would be a great fight. Let me just I just think it's not like it wasn't like it wasn't a close fight, because it definitely was at times, because Dustin, ended it with a TKO, so it doesn't come off as like, oh, it was a close fight, but it was until it wasn't. And I think that Justin, now with his change of mindset, could be a lot more competitive, right? He has the mindset of like, I want to be a champion, rather than just putting on exciting fights. He just wanted to be known for that. And then he changed the mindset, wanted to fight for the title. He got his chance, then it goes away. And so he says he's got one more run. I think getting Dustin now is probably a good idea if you want to get it back. Because Dustin's had after this fight, Dustin went on to fight Conor twice and make a whole bunch of money. So Dustin's had his time fighting for the title and all that, and fights just have to make sense for, because he's sitting pretty, and it's got to make sense. What does beating Justin get him? Especially a better Justin, a better Gaethje, and it wasn't like an easy fight to begin with, right? Look at this. This is not an easy fight. So what's fighting a better version of him? Yeah, sure, I could once or twice now. I can't remember. I mean, but you see, like, he starts. It's not like Dustin's not in it. He does very well in the fight. It's just such a risk. I mean, look at. I definitely think it's the fight to make. Faux show. Faux show. Faux show. Da 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 da. Okay. Oh, and Vitor Belfort knocked out Jacare, I think. In boxing. I mean, knocked out that submission specialist in boxing. Lame. Lamers. All right, so what else? Oh, Dustin Poirier. Speaking of, segment to segment, I transition so fluidly. Dustin Poirier set to make desk analyst debut at UFC 287. Doesn't mean he's making his commentary debut. Just means he'll be sitting where like Anthony Smith sits, at the desk. Which, yeah, I mean, if there's anyone qualified to do it, it's this guy. These are great. Stores and Bickle. Vaporizers are great. Let me just see if there's anything. Explains, I'm only looking upwards. How is the Shavkat Rakhmonov fight not upwards? If you beat Shavkat Rakhmonov, the guy that's only won fights and finished everybody in them, especially after that Jeff Neal fight, how's that not upwards? Everyone can come to their own conclusion. I just think that's like a very weird statement to make. Why even bring it up? Just be like, yeah, I'll fight him. Ooh, Michael Chiesa versus Gunnar Nelson. I like it. Okay. Let's get into fights this weekend. Shall we? Shall we? Okay. So, boy, do we have a great card for the 305. For the 305. For the 305. Let's start in the early prelims. What to watch for? I'm going to give you one right off the bat. We're going Ignacio Bahamundes versus Trey Ogden. For those that don't know Ignacio Bahamundes, Ignacio is known for his spinning um his spinning wheel kick, spinning heel kick of I forget who, but we all remember. Oh, Roosevelt Roberts. Boom. Oof. Oof. I mean, look at this cat. He's got great kickboxing. Um, he's got great kickboxing. He's got good submissions. He's the quintessential. He's like a real up and coming prospect. I was just sorry, I wasn't commentating for a second. It was just the hair on this guy got me. But he's a real MMA fighter. I think he's out of from Chile. So it's one of those. That's interesting. A guy from Chile has like really good technique, striking. Oh, look at that head kick, beautiful, out of nowhere too. And he's definitely one of those guys to be on the lookout for. And so that's why, as far as fights to watch on the early prelims, it's a catch weight as well. Ignacio versus Trey. He's got a couple losses too, which is, I'm not saying it's like great that he's got losses, but it's good that he's got some experience in that, even before getting into the MMA or getting into the UFC and starting his UFC career. Middleweight, Gerald Meerschaert versus Joe. This is now in the prelims. Gerald Meerschaert versus Joe Pyfer. Everyone loves Joe Pyfer. It's like hashtag be like Joe Pyfer or something like that. Personally, I know he's got a couple knockouts. So it's more before we jump to the hype train in my opinion, I think a Gerald Meerschaert's a perfect. Gerald Meerschaert's a perfect like step in the right direction to see what he's got, because Gerald Meerschaert's gonna be he's not gonna just be some guy you can bully like this. However, if you're Joe Pyfer, you're hoping you have a coming out party like Khamzat Chimaev, and you do that to him. There is that aspect of if he just puts him on the back foot, which Joe's really good at, clearly, and then kind of just tries to chin him, there's a chance. But I mean, look at the murderer's row Gerald Meerschaert has to deal with, and he submitted Bruno Silva in his last fight. That's the thing is, does Joe Pyfer chin Gerald Meerschaert and give him a chance to start grappling with him and even submit him? That's the problem. That's the trickiness of the veteran like Gerald Meerschaert. I mean, if you want to, for those that are actually putting money on things, as a favorite, Joe's a good fighter to put money on because he's well-rounded, he's tough, and he's got that dog in him. And so if you're going to bet money, always bet money on the dog. And I think his dog is just bigger and more vicious than Gerald Meerschaert's dog. As far as if you want to think of fantasy, like things that could happen in your head, how this fight could go, one of the ways is Gerald Meerschaert gets hurt and then submits Joe Pyfer. I just wouldn't put money on that. Women's strawweight, Michelle Waterson versus Luana Pinheiro. All right. Well, Michelle Waterson, obviously the karate hottie. We know what she's gonna do. She's gonna go out there, stand up, and if not, she's gonna try to head and arm throw to a submission, take the back. It's not the most correct or right grappling, but it's effective in her part. I just want to see Luana being. I just have a feeling if this girl that she's fighting is like super tough and technical, she'll probably win this fight. Because it's just a matter of hungry and having that dog in her of like, well, I want to beat Michelle Waterson. Or is Michelle Waterson, is she in there to just cash a check? Is she interested in fighting for the title again? Obviously, those questions will be answered. But, I mean, well, from what I can see, this girl's a beast. Oh, let's not do this one. Oh, wait, that's not the same girl. What the hell? Okay, so let's see. Okay. She's wild. So if there's anything that Michelle Waterson can take advantage of, it's the fact that she swings wide. And that's the one thing about the karate hottie is she is a karate fighter, right? So she does have like a different cadence and rhythm of fighting that unless you've game planned it correctly and you have people in your camp that can emulate it, it's going to be hard to get that read in 3 rounds. So she outpoints her, but this girl looks like she's just going to come forward and she doesn't really care. Like, look, she's fun and brave. Okay. Got pretty good jiu-jitsu. She hits hard. It's just that, is Michelle Waterson going to kick her before she can blitz like this? And it's also a question of age. Is time catching up? I mean, she's 37. This girl's 30. She's 37, And then you have Chris Curtis versus Kelvin Gastelum. This, by far, I mean, obviously Alex Pereira could be fight of the night. And Rob Font and Adrian, I mean, the bangers on this card are ridiculous. Or the Rob Font or Adrian Yanez could. But, man, I think this is a sleeper. Chris Curtis, Kelvin Gastelum. Both boys ain't going to take each other down. Kelvin's going to try to take Chris Curtis down. Chris Curtis isn't going to be taken down by Kelvin Gastelum. And Chris Curtis tried to take Kelvin Gastelum down. So, what does that mean? These boys are going to fight. Boys are going to try to throw down. I think there is going to be a little bit of a grappling, like Kelvin being the veteran. Well, I guess Chris is more of a veteran as far as volume of fights. However, Kelvin is, he's a veteran. He's a veteran in the UFC. He's young, but he's a veteran in the UFC. They're the same. I mean, look at this. It's just the reach. I think the reach might be the biggest issue, and I think Chris Curtis's reach against Kelvin Gastelum might be what wins him this fight. Because they're both primarily boxers. I'm just going to put some Chris Curtis highlights on right now because I like watching him. But, yeah, I think it's a matter of he gets a beat on Kelvin Gastelum and eventually knocks him out. Because I don't think Kelvin's going to be able to get the wrestling off like Jack Hermanson did against Chris Curtis. They're both southpaw too. This is kind of like a Kelvin. I mean, this looks like a Kelvin Gastelum fight. Holy shit! This looks like looks like Kelvin Gastelum. Not like looks like him, but his fighting style. I mean, he looks like a worse version of Kelvin Gastelum as far as fighting goes. But it's the same kind of style. Holy shit, he already fought Kelvin Gastelum. This is crazy. Okay, well, that kind of answers my question. Yeah, I think Chris Kersley wins. I mean, am I the only one that sees that? That's weird. That guy looks like an unpolished version of Kelvin Gastelum. Southpaw, too? Oh, weird. All right, so in the main card, you have Raul Rosa Jr. versus Christian Rodriguez. I'm going to look up Christian Rodriguez. From what I know about Raul Rosa is he's got great boxing, but he's also got his grappling for MMA is very good. He's got very good just overall grappling. It's not like the jiu-jitsu or it's just very top heavy, take top position, ground and pound, look for submission. His boxing's great. He works with Flamin' Hot Mitts, who's very good. But this Christian Rodriguez guy, let me look him up. Cause are they feeding him? What's his last win? Let's see. He submitted Joshua Weems. I don't know who Joshua Weems is. But let's hope that Raul Rosa is better than Joshua Weems. Da 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 da. Do you have anything? Anything about him? That's not way. That's not way. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can get. Oh god, it's gonna be slow too. All right, so he gets him in a guillotine, and he gets the guillotine, and he gets the anaconda, and it just okay. So, it doesn't look like the guy that he fought last is bad, or it doesn't look like he was like that great. So, I'm gonna probably just, if you're gonna put money, probably put on Rosa if he's the favorite. Makes more sense. Yeah, I think he just. Let's see size was 5'8", 5'6". Yeah, they kind of just gave him a body. But that's what you're gonna do. The kid's 18. You wanna push him as fast as possible / hype him up as much as possible. Then you have Kevin Holland versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. I like this fight. I liked it maybe a couple years ago before Santiago was 36 years old and doing commentary. I like this fight for Kevin Holland. He's going to try to get it back because he lost his last fight, made really bad decisions. Actually, his past 2 fights, to be honest. So he needs it back. Right? He's 0-2. Santiago's kind of in the same boat with his losses to... Oh, no, he won against Alex Moreno. But before he was 0-2. So he's got one back. It's Kevin Holland's time to come back, and if he beats Santiago, he's right back in it. He didn't lose any momentum. But if he does, I honestly don't know what would be next for Kevin Holland. He hits double-digit losses. And then Santiago, win for him is just, you could give him... I think he fought Wonder Boy. So I guess you could try to give him that fight again. Maybe they never fought. Yeah, they never fought. That would be a good fight. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Wonder Boy. That'd be a good fight. Yeah, if he wins, Santiago versus Wonder Boy. As far as how it goes, shit, man. I don't know, probably Santiago. Bantamweight, Rob Font versus Adrian Yanez. Old Lion defending his spot against the hungry new Lion. Rob Font, he's got the hunger and passion. He can box the best of them. I just think Adrian Yanez is he's the future, man. He's so good. Um, it is one of the. It does have that feeling of, is it too much too soon for Adrian? But yeah, I feel like if anyone can box with Rob Font and like get away with it, it's gonna be Adrian Llanos. And yeah, I'm just a fan, so that's my bias on choosing Adrian over Rob Font. But I could easily make an argument for Rob Font. He's longer. He's fought higher level competition. He's hungry. He wants to get his those losses back. Um, and his boxing, strictly boxing, is probably a bit better technically than Adrian Yanez. But I think Adrian Yanez's overall game, um, especially with his like where I could see his potential go compared to like Rob. I feel like Rob is where he's at. He might get a little bit better, but Adrian, I don't even know what he'll look like in this next fight. He might look like a different level, right? So that's why his potential, his room for growth, in my opinion, is more to put money on. But Rob also more polished, so could be an argument for that. So we get to the co-main event. We got Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal for the No, I'm just kidding. Not BMF belt, but for the King of Miami, I guess, belt. Jorge Masvidal, everyone's been talking about his retirement. I think as a guy who has shown time and time again that he can pull it out of the fire at a moment's notice. He could jumping switch kick Ben Askren in 5 seconds. He can shuffle step overhand right Darren Till in his hometown after 2 years of layoff. You know, if there's one guy that showed me in those big moments he can shine and bring violence, it's Jorge Masvidal. He's 0-3. He's talking about retirement, but I don't think that type of talk it affects him the same way it affects other people. Right? We go to that pyramid of like, what is a fighter? Right? There are three things: they're competitor, fighter, or martial artist. Jorge Masvidal is more of the fighter martial artist aspect of it. He loves technique. He loves working on things to get better at them. And then he's a fighter. He comes from the backyard fighting. He thinks about things in a very effective way for violent fighting. So my arguments for him winning, because I know it's a harder argument to make. Gilbert, easy. He takes him down and he submits him. I could see that path to victory 10 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, right? Actually, 9 times out of 10 to make the sake of the argument for Jorge Masvidal. But the 9 times out of 10 that I do see it, I see Gilbert Burns, right hand, close distance, body lock, take him down, submit him with a head and arm triangle, call it a day. Or rear naked choke if he wants to transition and defend. Easy. I mean, I could see that all day. That to me is boring to try to envision. But if you're trying to bet money and pick the most likely outcome, probably that. To make the argument for Jorge Masvidal, my argument for that is, one, we've seen Gilbert get hurt with a jab by Usman. And if there's one person that's got the most violent boxing in that division, it's going to be Jorge. There's someone that can put a little extra sting on his jab. It's going to be Jorge. Jorge says that he can see like Gilbert, like he can pull the bitch out of Gilbert. And I don't like think that Gilbert's a bitch, but I see what he's saying. Like he can make him quit. And that's going to be all dictated on whether or not Jorge can keep the pressure on Gilbert and not let him close that distance without having to close distance into the range of a really bad jab that triggers the response of, oh my God, this is the Usman fight all over again. It is going to be up to Jorge to make it violent. And I think that'll be the difference factor. That's Jorge's X factor to win this, is make it a violent fight. I think, yeah, Gilbert doesn't like the violent aspect of MMA. I think he's a competitor and a martial artist, but I don't think he's a fighter. So I think when the tough gets going, I think he can be out-toughed. Now you can argue, well, what about the Chimaev fight? That's not what I'm talking about. Those are two competitors, and at the end of the day, they were jockeying over top position. Jorge's going to jockey over knocking your head into the bleachers. That's a different kind, right, of when the tough gets going. The shots and the things aren't going to be designed to hold you and stall time and win a decision. Everything's going to be used with malintent. Anywhere you're going to be, you're not going to be, the tough parts are going to be elbows from the bottom. He's going to be looking to cut you and hurt you and do damage to you. That's the tough part. Can you get through the toughness of that rather than the toughness of, oh, I know he's just trying to stall and out wrestle me to win the fight. So that's where Jorge can win, in my opinion. If you needed some way to justify Jorge winning and put money on it, that's your way. His X factor is violence. Gilbert, he's on a 3-fight winning streak, I think, or 2-fight, and then the Chimaev fight where people are like, he won that fight. Oh, the Stephen Wonderboy was before that. Yeah, so he's just a 1-fight winning streak. So it's not like he's got a lot of momentum or anything like that. He's just got that one win over Neil Magny. And Jorge can easily take that. He can take all the work that Gilbert's done and get himself right back in the title, and Leon would love that fight. And that's the other thing. That's the biggest thing that drives Jorge is, like, if he just wins this, he fights Leon for the title. Easy as that. I'm sure if Gilbert wins, he probably has to fight Colby or something like that. It's a tougher road for Gilbert, and it's in Miami. Those are all X factors. Technically, though, it would be Gilbert by body lock to submission. All right, so the main event. Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya for the 4th time in combat sports. I mean, and I guess the idea that Pereira is the underdog makes kind of sense because he was hurt a bunch and was losing the fight. But this man's beaten Israel 3 times, 1 time being a decision, and it's like, but it was so close and could have been for Israel. But it wasn't, and Pereira won the fight. So it was close, but Pereira won the fight. So it's like, of course you can make an argument for Izzy because it was close. But the point is Pereira won because he won the fight. And it was, I'm gonna sound like a broken record because it was close. The second fight was close, but then Pereira ended the fight and the judges had no say in it. And then the third time, it was close. But then Pereira ended the fight and didn't let the judges have a say in it. Oh, but the stoppage was early. Bet not the stoppage was early because the next thing coming was a flying switch knee with the way Izzy's head was down. Listen, I understand everyone loves Izzy and his flashy footwork, but man, there's a video out there. I'm going to put it up on the screen. I'm not going to play the video, obviously, but I'm going to put it up on the screen. You can watch it yourself. It's so true. I mean, everyone kind of liked Izzy's striking and everything like that. But man, he was ruining the division. Man, it was point fight, and it was never fighting to win. It was always fighting not to lose. And yeah, I guess it's impressive that you can land a bunch of leg kicks and stuff. But the ferocity that Alex Pereira came crashing through at the middleweight division, and I know he's got the background in his combat sports that allowed him to like quickly ascend, and he didn't have to go through like murderer's row that Israel did. But we got to remember. You got to remember that the respect that you got to carry with Pereira's career is this. Alex Pereira was a 2-time Glory kickboxing champion. 2 times. Middleweight and light heavyweight. Defended both of them. Izzy's last kickboxing match was the Alex Pereira kickboxing match. He didn't become a champion in kickboxing. He was a very good kickboxer, but he wasn't a championship level kickboxer. Alex ascended to the top of kickboxing. Then he was like, I'm going to get into MMA. And for those that don't know his story, he grew up in the favela of Sao Paulo, obviously poor Brazil, sad upbringing. And he worked his way up out of that poverty through fighting after being addicted to alcohol and working in a tire shop at like the young age of 8 or something like that. Like young. So he gets into boxing, has a bunch of amateur boxing fights. I mean, it reflects his fighting style. And then he gets into kickboxing because it was making him money. But he got into MMA as well before, but it just wasn't making him money. And then the Jungle Fight promotion that he fought in, where he has a couple of losses and whatnot, they weren't paying him and they weren't getting him fights. So he went and he pursued kickboxing because it paid him money. He needed money. He didn't have the opportunities that Israel did growing up, and it's not to take away from like anyone having opportunities when they grow up, but he needed to do what he needed to do to survive. So he couldn't just pursue MMA and leave kickboxing on the back burner because he needed to make money. So while Izzy went and pursued MMA instead of kickboxing, he obviously garnered success and then went 20-something fights and 0. But since Alex couldn't make money in MMA, he just continued in kickboxing. But not to take away from the fact that he wasn't championship material. He went to become a 2-time and one of the greatest kickboxers of all time. Right? So then when he leaves and he sees that Israel's making all this money in something, and knowing this guy he's beaten, and it's not that he's chasing after it, like everyone calls him the biggest hater, but it's not that he's hating Izzy. He just sees that a guy that he's beaten twice, he's achieved the millions of dollars of success. It's like, well, I can do that too. If I've beaten this guy, I can do it better than him. So that's why personally I've always been a fan of Alex. It's not that he's taken everything that Izzy, like he just follows Izzy and like beats him at everything. It's not that. It's that he's beaten Izzy before and then he went on to do better things. And it's just because of the financial burden that he had that he couldn't just pursue his dreams. And his dreams were to fight MMA. He always wanted to fight MMA. And now that you see it, he goes in, he smashes the first guy they put in front of him, where Izzy fights Rob Wilkinson, and even then he's like, it was an okay performance. It's like, bro, you put on the performance. You had the guy as a heavy bag. Yeah, he finished him in like the 3rd round, but whatever. It was 2nd round, whatever. But Alex, he doesn't fight that way. He fights to win. He goes out there and smashed that first dude. Bruno Silva, I mean, it was back and forth until that very end. I mean, Bruno Silva was lucky the fight was over. You know, Alex goes out there for it. You know, and then he goes out there to Sean Strickland fight. Sean Strickland wants to bring the fight. Good. Let's fight. Left hook, eats it. Down. And then we get to the Izzy fight. And while Izzy was finding his way and holding championships, and people can say, you know, that's what it is. That's how a fighter, you know, that's championship medal. That's championship mindset. But as soon as a fighter brought it to him in striking and did not give a fuck about his credentials, right? Because in Alex's mind, it's like, dude, I've already beaten you twice. Like, you hold no kickboxing over me. And you hold no range over me. Jared Cannonier, everyone's so worried about the kickboxing. It's the Khabib. It's almost like Khabib syndrome in the sense of like, they're so worried about the kickboxing. You either Marvin Vettori it, where you try to spam takedowns, but no setups, or you Rob Whittaker 2 and Jared Cannonier. You stay on the outside and you play it safe. You get the shots off that you can get, and then you leave. You exit. You try to whatever. You try to get one and done. And then Izzy just outpoints you because you're afraid of going into that fire. Rob obviously has a reason to be afraid to go into that fire. But, you're talking about a welterweight that went up to middleweight. With Alex, he had no fear. He took the striking to him. That's how you beat these guys. You take the grappling, you take their strength to them. You show that there is no that I could beat you at just this. Right? And then that forces them to now get out of their game plan. Obviously, just fighting your game plan is always number one. But in Alex's case, his game plan is to stand and go forward and beat them with pressure and pace and patience. And then he showed that if you just go out there and you bring it to Izzy, punch him in the chest, kick him in the leg, check his kicks, don't let up, put his back against the cage. He took Izzy. I mean, I'll give Izzy's side because he's the favorite. Why? I don't have to hype Izzy up. Everyone thinks Izzy's going to win this. For some reason, I have to hype up the champion right now. For some reason, I have to hype up the 2-time Glory kickboxing world champion. For some reason, I have to hype up the guy that's beaten Izzy a 3rd time in MMA. A guy that went 4-0 in the UFC on his run flawlessly. I mean, the Bruno Silva fight and the Izzy fight were hard, but he won those fights. I have to hype this guy up. That's bananas to me. That people still think that Israel, the guy who quit kickboxing, that everyone thinks is the best kickboxer in MMA. The guy that once he fights someone his same size and same weight struggles, Jan Blachowicz. I mean, Jan's a little bit bigger. Then you fight Alex, struggles. This right here by Lucas Tracy MMA. This is the video right here. I would highly recommend this. I've been saying this. I don't think Izzy's the main character in his anime story. And when he loses, which I'm pretty sure that's where my money's going, is that he loses this fight. He's going to have to look in the mirror and realize that he's not living his story. He's living some other dude's story. And that other guy shouldn't be underestimated like he is. He's been underestimated in the underdog his whole life. And to say the things that he said about him, it's dude, Alex has always been fighting as the underdog. He's always been fighting to win and to prove something, even though he's got nothing to prove. And people just wait. When he beats Izzy and goes on to do whatever he does, it's not going to be the next person's just going to wrestle him and it's going to be over. It's no, dude, this guy's good. It's not like you just get to where you get because you suck, right? Some could say that for some fighters, but even then, those fighters, they put it together when it matters, and Alex is that guy. On the 5th round, my man, he goes, I have to bring this up. I love bringing this up. Izzy on the 5th round against Kelvin Gastelum, I'm prepared to die. Alex in the 5th round against Israel Adesanya, I'm ready to kill. It's a different mentality. One is in there to fight, not to lose. The other one's in there to fight to win. That's why I love the fight. I mean, I don't hate them fighting each other. I think it's just weird when one is the favorite. When we've got three clear fights where he didn't win. And then it's the first time that they fought in MMA, I could say, okay, well, he doesn't have the MMA experience, fair. But then he beats him. And he hits him with the same left hook. And it's like it's like two sides of that coin are this. Alex Pereira beat him because it's his left hook and he hit him with the same thing, and I was like, that's how good he is. And he set it up, yada yada yada. But it's also on the same side for Izzy. It just shows that he's not as much of a champion as Alex is. Because he let his mind wander in the 5th round when it mattered the most. You had this guy beat. And just like in anime, right? You did your Goku thing, just like in Dragon Ball Z, man. You didn't finish him. You didn't go for the kill. You had him hurt at the end of the 1st round. 2nd round, go out there, finish his ass. If Alex had him as hurt as he did at the end of the 1st round, you don't think Alex would have just pushed on the gas pedal and just ended the fight? You Goku'd him. You let the guy regain his strength and in the 4th round, and then you let him put it on you in the 5th. He had nothing to lose in the 5th round. These little things, these are the things that's like you want to make it all about anime and you want to make it this anime fight and make it this like big story arc. It can't be a story arc if you're 0-3. That's not how animes go. Animes go, he beats you one time, you can take a 2-year time skip and you come back and you beat the fuck out of him. That's how animes go. You're 0-3 against this guy. You're letting this guy have his own anime story. You have, yeah, I just, I think Alex does it again. I can't wait to watch it. But yeah, those are my predictions. Hope you guys enjoyed them. Hope you guys enjoyed my rant. Bottom and top, Raul Rosa Jr. For those that have been Raul Rosa Jr., Santiago, Adrian Yanez, Gilbert Burns for the betting favorites, for the fans of the fans, Jorge Masvidal, and I have Alex Pereira winning. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast. I enjoy doing it. Remember, SouthernScrapNation.com. Like, subscribe, hit the noti bell. SouthernScrapNation.com podcasts, you can find them anywhere. iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify. Go to the website. Come train with me. All right? Easy. Self-defense. I do everything. Kickboxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, MMA. Right? We can do it. You can learn whatever you want. Look at that cheesy smile. We can learn whatever you want. Got some videos online. All right. I've been your host, as always, Daniel Jonas. Thank you again. Until next time, stay safe. Peace.